Sairam students. In today's class, we will continue with our lesson, His First Flight. But students, before I begin, let us have a recap of what we did in our last class. We studied about a family of seagull. There were 6 seagulls, father, mother, 3 brothers, and 1 sister. Now, the youngest brother is very desperate to take his first flight. But he does not have faith that his wings will support him. So he's very scared. He does not take his first plunge. His entire family is forcing him so that he takes his first flight. But he's very scared. From the ledge, he can see his other siblings are enjoying a dive into the sea and catching their prey. He also wants to do that. But for that, it's important to take his first flight, which he is very scared to do. His mother continuously had kept her eye on him. She was trying all possible ways so that he can also confidently fly like his other siblings. She decides to take a piece of fish near him. Now, this seagull, the youngest seagull, is very hungry. He has not eaten anything. He is very hungry. So, his mother takes a small piece of fish near him. But she does not go and feed him. She is waiting very close. If you remember, in the last class we had studied that they are very close to each other. She has come down, but she has not gone and fed him. She is very close to him. She is waiting something to happen. So let us begin with our lesson. I hope students you have kept a book and a pen handy to jot down all the important points and important words. Let's proceed. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. So his mother had a plan. She knew that her child was very hungry. That's the reason she didn't go and feed him. She was waiting very close to him. And yes, even he was very hungry. So maddened by hunger, he himself jumped at the fish. He could not control his hunger anymore. So he himself jumped at the fish. So what has he done? He has taken his first flight. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into the space. He has realized that he has taken a jump, a plunge. So he was scared. A monstrous terror seized him. Seized means grabbed him, and his heart stood still. He could not hear anything. Okay, but it lasted only a minute. This entire thing, his fear was not for very long. It was only for a minute. And then he realized that his wings that he thought would not support him are now actually supporting him. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards, and the wind rushed against his breast feathers, his stomach, and his wings. He was not falling headlong now. Headlong is with your head ahead. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. Soaring means to move high. So now he has taken his first flight. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards. Ga ga ga, ga ga ga, gokula. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him, screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking, soaring and diving. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commended himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. So he was no longer afraid. He had forgotten that he was scared. He has taken his first flight. But yes, he felt a bit dizzy. Obviously, he had not eaten anything. So he felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared up. And he made some sound, to which his mother also replied, Gokula. Even she was excited. In fact, the entire family was excited. He answered her with another scream. And then what did he see? What did he see? His father, his two brothers and sisters were flying around him. They were curveting. Now what is curveting, students? Basically, curveting is you basically take leaps like a horse. This is called as curveting, when you take leaps. What is banking? When your one wing is up and one wing is down. That is called as banking. Soaring is you're moving up and diving is you are coming down. So basically all these actions, that is curveting, banking, soaring and diving, here are related to flying. He could see all his family members were excited and they were curveting, banking, soaring and diving. He had forgotten that he didn't know how to fly. And he commended himself. He again and again was diving, soaring, curving and shrieking shrilly. He was making, out of happiness, he was making a very sharp noise. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it. And he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. So the one task of flying is over. And next is to skim the waves, to touch them gently. So where was he? He was now near the sea and he was flying straight over it. What did he see? He could see a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges. Ridges over here means waves. Basically, actually speaking, what are ridges? Ridges are a narrow hilltop mountain range. But in this context, ridges means waves. So what could he see? He could see a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it. And he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. What's a caw? Caw is basically the sound that birds make. And out of happiness, he was cawing. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. So, but if you remember, students, in our last class, we had seen that those other siblings were very confident. The parents were teaching them how to skim the waves. He was up looking at them. So they had already landed on the sea. They were beckoning to him. They were signaling him. They were doing some gesture. They were asking him also to come and land on the sea. What did he do? He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. Finally, his legs have now touched the green sea. Let us see what happens next. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted by the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. So what happened? The moment his legs touched the sea, they started going in. His legs started sinking into the sea, and he was scared. He still didn't know how to skim the waves. So he was scared and he screamed out of fear, and he attempted to rise up. He wanted to fly off from there by flapping his wings. But what happened? He was very tired. He was feeling very weak. He was hungry. He had not eaten anything. So what happened? He could not rise. Also, a very strange exercise of, taking a flight, landing on the sea. So he was tired of doing all these things. So, though he wanted to rise up, he could not rise up. His feet sank into the green sea. Just because he could not rise, what happened? His feet went into the sea, and then his belly touched it, and then his stomach touched the sea water, and after that he could not sink inside more. That's it. So now he has learned how to swim. He was floating on it. He had now learned how to skim the waves as well. His family was very happy. What were they doing? They were screaming, they were praising that finally the youngest one has taken his first flight. Also, he has now mastered the art of skimming the waves. And what were they doing? They were offering him scraps of dogfish. So this is how he took his first flight. It's very difficult. But students, until and unless you don't try, you don't know whether you can do it or no. So it's very important to try. So with this, students, we come to an end of this lesson. So what have we seen in this lesson? Basically, it's a story that conveys the message that one learns by taking courage and not sitting idle. Like I told you, that you will not understand whether things are possible for you or not until and unless you try. A young seagull is fed lovingly by his parents. But when the time comes for him to fly, he feels afraid. His parents try many tricks to teach him to fly, but he is so afraid that he refuses to fly. At last, his mother hits upon a plan. She tempts him with good food in her beak, but she only flies near his ledge, but does not go there. In order To get food, the hungry seagull comes to the edge of the rock and falls from it. At first, he is terrified, but then he opens his wings and starts flying. And he is happy to note that he did not fall into the sea. And this is how he learns to fly. So, until unless you don't try, students, you will not know whether things are possible or no. Here comes the value points of the lesson, the important points of the lessons. Kindly go through them, students. A gentle reminder, these value points are very important. They can help you to revise your lesson, and also if these points are learned by heart, it will become very easy for you to answer the questions. So students, with this we come to an end of this session. In our last class with the video, there was a link. With this video also there is a link, students. All of you will click on the link and answer the questions given, and don't forget to submit them. Till then, students, you will take care of yourselves. Sai Ram and bye-bye.